beautiful night for football, and a little adjustment from being in Kinnick. It was kind of reminiscent of being at Worcester Academy, although we didn't have artificial turf there, so that wasn't part of the deal. But good night for football. Good way to finish up spring practice. First of all, I just want to congratulate both TJ and Noah on being picked last night, and hopefully we'll have a couple more guys drafted. But just really happy for them and proud for those guys, and well-deserved recognition. And then, regarding spring, I think overall we had a good spring practice. We didn't certainly win any games or anything like that, and tonight was not the showcase of spring ball by any stretch. Some good efforts out there, some good things going on individually, but to think that we'll win any of our 12 games next year with that energy level is probably not going to be cutting the mustard. So, we still have some work to do, but I think overall, we made good progress. Saw some good growth individually, and I think we're moving ahead as a football team. So, and for the most part, unfortunately, Colton Dinsdale did have an ACL injury, but outside of that, we came out, I think, without any surgery. So, hopefully get everybody healthy and move forward here for the next phase. Throw it out for questions.
Did the silent scare kind of cut short things tonight?
No, not really. I mean, we had it scripted pretty short, and I think it was more. That's a good way to put it. More of a scare to him than a real injury. So that's a good news. If we were practicing tomorrow, he probably wouldn't practice, but I think he's fine.
Kirk, Nico obviously stood out to us. Is that just kind of how he's been all spring?
He's had a really good spring. Two guys I would mention would be Nico and Tyron Tracy at the receiver position. I think both those guys have shown growth, and it's really critical with Nick Easley graduating, so that's a big void for us. And I think both those players made really nice strides.
Everyone looks at the receivers you lost, so easy with the two tight ends, but do you feel, you mentioned two guys, as the whole group, do you feel pretty good that Nate's going to have some guys to throw to?
Yeah, we're going to have to, and those two players really, I think we're all more confident, and the teammates will be confident in them. And I think outside we've seen some growth also. Brandon had a really good spring. Amir's in and out a little bit and does some good things. So we're going to have to keep pushing forward there. And then Nate Weeding was healthy this spring and had a good spring. Sean Byer's in and out a little bit, but I think he's got good promise. And realistically, I mean, we're not going to have a first-round player, I don't think, come out of our offensive skill position next fall. But collectively, I think we have a chance to be okay. And that's what it all gets down to. As long as everybody does it, takes care of their roles, we have a chance to be okay.
Did your two starting tackles offense make the progress that you wanted to make this spring?
They did. Tristan, somebody fell on him, I guess it was 2 weeks ago. So, but up until that point, he was really practicing well. And then AJ has had, I don't know if it's a foot or an ankle, but he's had some soreness. He's practiced through that. I think both those guys have really stepped forward. And, they were good players coming into the spring, but I think they have improved. There's no sitting back at all. Those guys really practiced well.
As a coach, you sit there and think, is it possible that Nate has only one more year left? As a coach, does that time go that fast?
It does go that fast. It's scary. Yeah, it's too bad we didn't have the 4-game rule, when he was a true freshman, but that's the way it goes. But, the big thing is that we've had 2 really good years with him and really excited about next year, and he's working hard at it, like you'd expect and like you'd, think he would. So he's doing a really good job.
Do you guys try to keep things semi-fresh? For AJ was telling us about going against Alaric constantly 24/7 with like brothers fighting. Do you try to keep things fresh, or do you like that tension?
I think that's okay. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, steel sharpens steel, and no, it's good. And anytime you have good players playing good players, I think it's a good challenge. But that's it's kind of on a bigger picture, offense versus defense too. I think Phil was calling the plays before they were run tonight. You look at each other long enough, and it just it really gets that way. So that part of it's always interesting. There's some interesting dynamics that go on this time of year in preseason, but it's all healthy. It's healthy. Yeah.
It looks like you're gone beyond experimentation with the stand-up end. I'm not going to call it a 34, but just a stand-up guy. What do you like about that? Especially because you have an abundance of athletes at linebacker.
Yeah, I mean, the whole idea is to get the best guys out there, and we're pretty sure who our top 4 defensive linemen are right now. And those guys, I think, collectively all did a good job this spring. They took steps forward. But you do the math on it, we're not real deep outside right now. We'll get help when Zach gets in here. That'll be an additional player to help us, and that was the whole idea when we recruited him. But, now it's a matter of putting guys out there that might have a chance to play, so that's the next step. Unfortunately, Amani is out, but he was the first guy that we moved there, and One pleasant surprise, and I'm not ready to ordain him by any stretch, but Joe Evans, a walk-on. He's really been a feisty, showing good energy and toughness out there this entire spring. So we're fooling around with him out there, and so it just gives another guy an opportunity to get out there and play a little bit against some good players and see what they can do. And the bottom line is next year we want to get our best 4 and then our best 8 on the field. And if it means it's a linebacker, it means it's a linebacker. We'll just kind of see how it goes. But that's the downside of losing 2 guys that are pretty good players in Parker and Anthony.
Where does the kicker competition stand right now between Caleb Shudak and Keith Duncan?
I'd kind of call it a draw at this point, and I think that's kind of the story of our football team right now. And I told our guys this morning, anything we might put out depth chart-wise between now and the first ball game really is kind of irrelevant. So I really anticipate a lot of really good competition, and that's just one position where it's really pretty much a coin toss. And we have a lot of guys that haven't played a lot, that have improved a lot since the end of last season, since the last game in November. So whether it was in December making progress, and then this month, so who knows where they're going to be by September, and we'll let all that play itself out. And we got a handful of guys that if they're not starting, that'll be an upset certainly. But I think there are a lot of guys right now that have an opportunity maybe to move up and get into good position. And I mentioned to the guys, a couple of years ago, TJ was a redshirt scout team player. It wasn't that long ago. Now he was the 8th guy taken in the draft last night, and still had 2 years eligibility. So, that's what we're looking for is improvement. He's got a skill set, obviously, but more importantly, when I think about him, I think of the improvement and the way he's improvement driven, and that's where our football team has to be right now.
What do you want to get out of? What can you get? You think out of those games? Pressure or just setting an edge?
No, it's he's on 2-point instead of a 3-point, but he's playing defensive end.
Okay.
Yeah, and we drop our ends occasionally, but that's not a big part of what we do. And, quite frankly, a lot of 34 teams, when they do drop, it's almost laughable because they don't know what they're doing, but they're in there to rush the passer a little bit. So it just gives us a way, I think, to maybe open competition up without changing what we do necessarily, and give, give a guy a chance to maybe get on the field and do something. And Amani was right in that mix until he got hurt.
Where is Amir in terms of the receiver rotation? I know he's been out a little bit. Coach Copeland said he's been inconsistent. Where is he in your mind in terms of the receiver rotation?
That's probably a fair categorization of him, and that's his challenge, I think, right now, like any player's challenge. And Brandon's trying to do the same thing, going into your 3rd year now. So how much improvement can you make? And he's an explosive player. He's demonstrated that, statistically, it's showing up on kick returns. So how can you translate that to the receiver position? And to me, it really gets down to consistency. And he's got an ability to take it all the way. He's also got an ability to have the ball out here and the ball come flopping out like it did on the sidelines in the bowl game. So you expect some unorthodox things from younger, inexperienced players, but now as you get into your 3rd year of the program, you hope to really learn how to demonstrate consistency and performance. And I think that's a big part of becoming a better football player. And if our older guys aren't doing that, then we're not going to have a good football team.
One younger guy that seemed to
quarterbacks a lot of run tonight. Have you seen any?
Yeah, it's kind of the same things as kickers. That's one of the positions I think right now it's really up for grabs. If they can beat Nate out, that I'd do some soul searching there if I was Nate. But I just don't see that happening. But yeah, somebody's a snap away from being in the game. So we wanted to keep it really open. And Alex is coming along. Those guys, their heads are always spinning, just like Petrus last year at this time. But he's done some good things, and we want to give him some work and get a feel for how he's wired. So I think all 3 of those guys right now are in competition. But realistically, it's going to be Peyton and Spencer fighting it out, I think. But who knows? If Alex can move by them, that's fine too. There's no horse in the race. It's just letting guys compete.
One young guy that seems to really have flashed, or at least did tonight, is Jaden McDonald. Where do you see him fitting in right now?
Yeah, we'll see. He's flashed. No, I wouldn't say all spring, but the second part of spring he's flashed. Just talking about consistency and trying to figure out what to do and where to be. That's part of the challenge. He's only a 1st-year player, but he does have a knack of showing up in the right places and doing some good things. So now it's a matter of him really learning the ABCs and being able to do it consistently. But he's certainly a prospect for sure.
After spring, how do you feel about your running game? That's an area that
It's some days it's looked good, some days not so good. But I think a big part of that is getting the line settled in a little bit. We've got a lot of unknowns there, I think, in the line. A lot of variables that could take place, and we'll let those guys compete. But I really feel good about both of our two backs that we mentioned earlier. Both Torrin and Mackay have really practiced well. They've improved. So that's a good place to start. If you got backs that can make good reads and hit it, that gives you a chance. And then hopefully we'll be, better as we go along here with the offensive line and the other block of the tight end perimeter blocking.
What did you accomplish this spring? How would you assess the whole spring?
I think it was positive, and again, it's all about the growth. And you're measuring almost every guy out there. So how much can we improve? And then also, as I said, I think with this team especially, there's a lot of growth that we can, I don't want to say anticipate, but hope for, certainly in August. And again, we saw that in December, saw it this month. So hopefully now we'll see the same kind of growth and acceleration in August, because we've lost a lot of good players, from this last year's team. And a really good senior class was totally invested, and then you lose 4 more guys on top of it. But I will say this on that topic too. I think our seniors, our leadership group, they're very visibly working at things, like they're trying to move the team forward. And I think last year's guys did a great job of that too. So that's a real good indicator. Doesn't mean we're going to win any games, but at least we're thinking right, and those guys are really trying to take initiative with everybody else.
It feels like you're kind of old school in that you want to have a spring game-ish type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want that, or are you okay with it going away?
I like doing an open house or public venue type practice.
Mm-hmm.
Spring games, as you know, we got away from them for a while. Then we got back to them in 13, I think it was. With the crazy scoring system, which I still don't understand.
I don't.
And I just see one even worse this spring. I thought it was an NBA game for a minute, and I said, oh no, it's football. But anyway, so, but I would, I mean, in the future we'll be in Kenny.
Yeah.
If not the last Saturday, the next last Saturday. I like that. I think that's good for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not, I mean, whether we get 10,000 or 80,000, well, I guess we can't get 80, but like that's not that big a deal to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like the team looking great in the spring. That's not that big a deal.
Right.
A lot more important to have it in the fall.
Right.
But I think it's important to get out there and let the fans see the team and do autographs and all that stuff. That's all good stuff.